And we are live. Good evening, Crypto Warriors, and welcome back to the Gym into Crypto, episode 448. Today is Thursday, August 8th, and I'm King, here to bridge the gap between the community and crypto every day at 3-ish. You know it. As everyone starts loading in for the comment section, go ahead. Look at today's prices. Not a lot of movement. It looks the same as yesterday, the day before, last month as of now. Bitcoin is down 1.83%, $11,741. Of course, we've been teetering there the last few days. Ethereum down 2.92% at $218. Litecoin down 0.82% at $90. Ripple XRP is down 2.2% at 30 cents. And Bitcoin Cash down negative 3.27% at $329. So again, not a lot of price movement. Staying in the same range as we had been already. What's going on, Cornelius Broadnax? What's going on, S1 Dubs? Not a lot of news today, actually. It was a slow news day. Today's stories we'll be covering. Of course, top story of the day is Eike Batista being arrested on suspicion of money laundering via Bitcoin. Coinbase supporting Tezos trading on apps and online. More inside look, another inside look on Binance's negotiations with that KYC Leaker. And Rhode Island regulating crypto under money transmitter law. So, again, not a lot of news, but the top story of the day was just rolled in about 17 minutes ago, as you can see here. Eike, I think that's how you pronounce it. Eike Batista arrested on suspicion of money laundering via Bitcoin. Dun 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 dun. What's going on, Andre Dirt and Jamal J, Jizzy Mac? Yeah, so top story, wealthy businessman Eike Batista has been arrested by federal police on account of suspected money laundering, which they believe he achieved by trading Bitcoin on his wife's behalf. Eike is like the 7th wealthiest person on the planet. It looks like he made his money in Brazil from oil and mining business deals. And it looks like this arrest was reported by Cointelegraph Brazil on August 8th. Prosecutors reportedly found notes indicating that he had been trading Bitcoin for his wife, who is not currently being investigated. The federal prosecutor wrote, although the suspect's wife, Miss Flavia, is not being investigated, it is quite possible, given the evidence of such a usual means of money, I'm assuming they meant unusual means of money laundering, that the suspect was using the wife's name and account to ensure concealment of the products or proceeds of the crime. Looks like Batista was reportedly arrested in the course of Operation Midas Secret, which was apparently backed by the Tag bank owner, Eduardo Plas Fernando Martins. Batista's attorney apparently considers this arrest to be illegal. Tag bank owner, what's going on? Again, informants going on here. This is a crypto story I've ever heard of one. So basically, of course, the top story of this, or the big story, is that he's using Bitcoin to launder money. Now, this is the alleged use of it. As we know right now, we're going into this FUD cyclone when it comes to Bitcoin. So any and everything that can point toward it is being used. I mean, this guy could have simply, we know he's a wealthy businessman already. He could have simply been trading Bitcoin, as they said, to make more money, not to necessarily launder money. But if he was using Bitcoin to launder money, this is actually a good story on behalf of Bitcoin, because the government is proving themselves wrong again and shooting themselves in the foot, because as they always say, Bitcoin is used for money laundering and terrorism, and we need the KYC and AML rules and regulations. As it has been stated from the beginning, using regular police work, you can find out who has Bitcoin because it's traceable. So them finding out Eike Batista used Bitcoin allegedly to launder money also means that we don't need all these AML and KYC regulations out there, because, again, good old police work can help you find the criminals and perps. You don't need to actually collect data on every single customer that uses these exchanges and programs. So it looks like Batista was also arrested back in February 2017, released a couple months later. They're saying he bribed former governors. So this guy may have been in and out the law. But of course, the big part of this story has made the headlines is that he was using Bitcoin to launder money, which, again, I find kind of hard to believe, because this guy is the 7th wealthiest person on the planet. I mean, that would be a lot of money laundering in order to get, to get a lot of his money through. So if, he's getting caught up for doing 30, 40, 50, $100 million. Again, I don't think that's laundering money. I think he was actually just trading Bitcoin, trying to make money. But We'll see what's happening in that story. What's going on, Cornelius? Cornelius said they're cracking down. Aren't there any news on JP Morgan cocaine case? Oh, man, come on. You know we don't talk about the JP Morgan $1 billion coke shipment ever since that came out. I mean, whoever actually broke that story might be fired already. So that's something that people actually need to do some digging on. S1 Dub said, I knew there was a bank behind this story somewhere. Of course. Look, Bitcoin FUD story, as you said, there has to be a bank. There's a bank or regulator somewhere close to it, right? What's going on, Malik Howard? So, yeah, that's a story I'm sure that we'll hear more about. This is a big guy. I mean, this is major news stations are reporting this. So hopefully we hear more about the story later. And hopefully he's not using Bitcoin and launder money. That's just being used as the headline. But we'll see. Another news, Coinbase, of course, is back in the news. Coinbase is sure to be in the news if it's a slow news day. Coinbase now adds support for Tezos trading on apps and online. Major crypto exchange Coinbase announces now supporting Tezos XTZ trading on its site as well as on its Android and iOS versions of the Coinbase app. This is a part of its expansion of its Coinbase Pro listings, which they said they will also be doing more coming soon. According to CoinMarketCap, Tezos price has already increased by 11.9% on the day, which means if you didn't already have Tezos before this was launched, then you already missed out on the big pump. I would probably wait a few weeks, not a month or so, to buy it when the interest is low again. But for those who have been holding it, this is a nice little pump for you. I know Tezos was held up in a legal case, I believe in Sweden or the Netherlands or something. And I haven't actually been keeping track of that project. Again, I remember it was the founders and the person ahead of their basically holding all the money. They were getting into it, and the judge was trying to figure out who got the money. But of course, I think it's Draper who's investing. A billionaire investor, Don Draper, is investing in it. He believes in the project. I know a lot of people believe in the Tezos project. So we shall see what happens. But of course, everyone could get on this except those in New York State. Because they're not, Coinbase custody hasn't expanded to them. So big win for Tezos users and of course those who are still for some reason trading on Coinbase. Good job to you all. Valdez Granville, what's going on? All right, more about this Binance extortion. An extortion going bad inside Binance's negotiations with its KYC Leaker. Of course, that's Know Your Customer Leaker. Shout out to John Biggs and Daniel Kuhn. This is actually a story that took two people to write. I won't go into all the details of it, but as you can see at the top here are the key takeaways. It says, prior to publishing details, about real Binance customers online Wednesday, a hacker operating under the pseudonym Banatov Platon had a month-long conversation with CoinDesk reporters. In the talks, Platon revealed that he has allegedly hacked individuals behind an earlier hack in which 7,000 Bitcoin was stolen from the world's largest exchange. And speaking of that hack, a story came out today that a lot of those Bitcoins that was hacked from Binance have actually went through a mixer already. I believe they were using, which mixer was it? Can't find. They were using chip mixer. They were using chip mixer, and it looks like they laundered at least 4,800 Bitcoin through there, approximately 4,836. And yeah, it looks like these same hackers, this guy hacked them. Platon claimed his aims were altruistic and that he simply wanted to bring the hackers' identities to justice. However, it appears he also effectively asked for money in exchange for promises he would not release Binance's customer data. And last but not least, Platon and Binance would hold numerous talks and reportedly struck a deal that was later aborted. CoinDesk has obtained full transcripts of these conversations. So again, this is on CoinDesk if you want to see the whole article in details. But essentially, this is kind of what we talked about before it happened. First of all, whoever hacked Binance to begin with, those 7,000 Bitcoin that we just talked about, almost over half of them, 4,836 that went through chip mixer allegedly. He hacked those people, which in this story also says one of them might have actually been an insider as well. And from those hacks, he was able to obtain the customer data, or at least the passwords to get to the customer data. Now, where he says his aims are altruistic at, he said yes, while he hacked the KYC data, he wanted money as a bug bounty for finding the hack. We talked about this before with EOS, where we were like they were giving $10,000 bug bounties if you found a problem in the code or the system. I mean, all the projects do bug bounties. So his point of view was like, hey, he just wanted a bug bounty, even though his price for the bug bounty was basically about 300 Bitcoin at the time, $3 million. Now, who's to say that's fair or not, right? They do give out bug bounties, of course, usually not that high. So it did kind of sound more like a ransom, especially since he started releasing it. But this also goes into what we talk about when these places get hacked, how sometimes there are hackers just like laying in wait. Like they might not hack you again immediately. They might have all your information and wait a year, half a year, a month, 2 months, and then hack you a second time. So to me, this kind of goes along with it. It wasn't the same hacking group, but it was a group that got hacked after they hacked Binance. So like a triple hack has occurred. And with one of the primary hackers, this guy literally just laying in wait as he collects more data before he finally pushes out. Again, he said he gave Binance about a month to, give him money or that bug bounty and feed into those demands. They didn't give him a penny throughout that month. That's the same time he was talking to CoinDesk reporters. So finally, he said, hey, I guess they're trying to call my bluff, and he started releasing the information. So again, this is a pretty long article. It looks like of the 60,000 customer accounts Platon alleges were breached, he shared 636 files with CoinDesk just to show Binance that, hey, this is a real hack, and if you don't pay me, I'm gonna let them out. So here's are some things, and of course, if you sign up for exchange, this is how it looks. You have your ID, you have the date, you take a picture with it. So yeah, this guy has these pictures and these documents. This is a legit hack. I mean, this is a legit hack. You see somebody else's driver's license here. This even shows you the back end of what some of the processes look like when he went through the KYC. You can see it here as well. So again, you can take more looks at this. It has the strings, parameters on it. Yeah, I mean, he's basically showing everybody how he did it and that this is real. So as of now, Binance still hasn't said anything since yesterday. So we're definitely gonna take a look. But this even goes to the conversation he had with Binance as well. You see here, someone's telling them, I see you already fed the info you have to the media, given the damage from the FUD campaign. I mean, these are messages from yesterday with the hacker. This is crypto, people. I mean, literally, these are messages from yesterday with the hacker, late last night. The hacker saying, as I said, I don't need your money. I'm out the deal already. I'm not expecting you to react, but I love to see insiders and those hackers' reaction when news is published. Once again, I am not interested in your reaction. So they went back and forth. And yeah, I mean, this hacker basically was like, hey, I'm ready to drop the bomb. And at the end, of course, he just told them to pay me again if they hadn't already. It doesn't look like that's happening. So they even went to Twitter on it. Again, this is happening in real time right in front of us. The hackers releasing all the KYC stuff from Binance. So this is getting ugly. This took an ugly twist between yesterday and today from him releasing that info. And I get it. I get where Binance is coming from. You definitely don't want to negotiate with terrorists. We always say that here. But at the same time, this is a tough one. You're talking about 10,000 different customer data points. 10,000, that's a lot of customers who aren't coming back. So I don't know, Binance. He asked for $3 million. You didn't have to pay him the whole thing, but you might want to send him something for good faith and see what happens. Who knows? What's going on, Tessa? P-Man Van. Yes, Bitcoin fighting a good fight. All right, and last but not least on the day, Rhode Island will regulate crypto under money transmitter law. So I'm sure there's some halfway retired person who is happy with this news now that they can enter the crypto market in Rhode Island and mitigate some risk. But looks like Rhode Island has become the latest U.S. state to add specific money transmitter guidance for crypto firms. According to a report published August 5th from Austin and Bird, that's how you know it's a slow news day when some of the top stories are from August 5th. An international law firm, any business that accepts fees for cryptocurrency transmissions or maintains control over virtual currencies for others will fall under the new law beginning January 2020. Point of Rhode Island's licensure for crypto firms are strict compliance metrics, anti-money laundering, and anti-fraud protocols and security requirements. Firms must also demonstrate an operational ability to, quote, protect the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of any non-public personal information or currency transmission it receives, maintains, or transmits. All of this says to me, while of course it is a step forward when it comes to cryptocurrency in the United States, I mean, it's a step back from mom and pops. It's a step back from innovation. It's a step back from people who've been in the community. Because again, you talk about strict compliance metrics. That means you need a compliance officer, right? You talk about the AML and anti-fraud protocols and security requirements. Sounds like you need a cybersecurity expert now. Also sounds like you need somebody that work with lobbyists, or not lobbyists. You probably need a lobbyist, but you need someone to work with regulators to figure out what are their metrics for these protocols and requirements, which means you probably need another compliance officer. So we're looking at least one compliance officer. We're looking at least one lawyer, at least one cybersecurity officer. I mean, this is at the minimum right here. And then, of course, your actual licensing. So as we said before, it's not that we're anti-law or anti-government and stuff. It's just that they're ridiculous. You come out the blue with brand new laws that I haven't heard any voting happening in Rhode Island, but these laws come out the blue, and it turns what could be a $10,000 to $15,000 startup into a $500,000 to $1 million startup overnight. So you're literally creating these barriers to keep anyone who doesn't already have any sort of wealth out of the industry, out of the mix. And that's not what this was made for. This was kind of made for put everyone on equal ground and transparency. If you have the money, you can use it. You can build things like this. But we now have these man-made laws that pop up every week saying, no, you're not allowed to play in this game unless you're very wealthy. So something to take a look at. This is important because, of course, depending on how this works in Rhode Island, other states may adopt it as well. And before you know it, half the United States could be going off of this same type of rules and regulations. So something to pay attention to. Looks like many of these requirements are adaptations from the standing money transmission legislation in the state. What's new is a firm must maintain holdings of cryptocurrencies in kind and quantity equal to amount being transmitted by clients. That makes sense. That basically says you can't fractional reserve bank, even though they're all probably going to do it, as well as banks who do it now. And again, it's just one of those things to take a look at because I'm sure this will continue to expand to other places, which is crazy. S1 Dub said, this is another reason why centralized exchanges and KYC are a dangerous period. You're talking about the Binance, of course. And what's crazy is, Binance has already shown us the danger of KYC AML gathering, which we already knew. But now, this is my point. Rhode Island is basically saying, yeah, it's a law now that you have to gather this data. And it's like, you're going to cause this to get hacked. Anybody who gathers this data, you will get hacked. By and large, most companies and institutions don't have the cybersecurity to stop a hack from happening. So we are literally creating more and more honeypots every time. Blockchain Shuja said, what happens when customers sue? Honestly, I think that's when we're going to get to that too big to fail stage. Here, let me throw it in the chat, Kel. One of the things I just noticed today, an article came out with Coinbase hiring two people. I can't remember. They were basically two regulators they hired that worked in New York already. Let me bring up the story here if I can. Yeah, Coinbase custody adds New York banking regulator experts to his board. So I didn't cover this story today, but this story is important because, we literally call this is the same thing with Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan do. It's like 1 week someone works at the Treasury or for the president on the financial cabinet or whatever. And then the next week they're back at Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan and they're flip-flopping with the laws to just help their own businesses grow. So I think we're going to see the same thing here with Coinbase in the crypto space as well, where you have these banking experts, and let's see who these banking experts were. Two members previously of the New York State Banking Department and the New York Department of Financial Services to his board of directors. Why would an established unicorn multi-billion-dollar company overnight want to hire, not only hire, but give two board seats to ex-regulators? The fix is in, people. There is no reason for an established company or up-and-coming company who has capital, who has investors, who has everything going for it. There is no reason to give up a board seat. That's huge. No one wants to give up a board seat. So you're giving away these powerful positions to people who used to work for the government in the banking and the financial services in a market which is very difficult to get into. I wonder why, right? The corruption is in this sentence alone. This is definitely those, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. We're going to put you on our board of directors. And from here, these guys are going to work as lobbyists. I mean, they're literally going to go right back into the office they left out the day before, except this time wearing a suit. And they're just going to go in, shake the hands of the people they know, have the private conversations, get the things done. And in about 6 to 8 months, when Coinbase has a foothold grasp on half of New York, and we all wonder how, just remember these board seats they gave to these two regulators out the blue on a Thursday afternoon. But that's the game, people. That is the game of crypto. It's crazy seeing that. Jamal J said, kind of twisted how they married to this zero-sum game theory, rely on keeping the foot on the necks. Right. So that's the thing we talked about before. Whether it's some of the regulators right now or some of the businesses, they have this zero-sum approach where we have to win, everyone else must lose. Again, they're still not realizing in crypto, in a decentralized environment, it actually helps if everyone's winning, because that means even more people can win. You remember, none of the services in cryptocurrency are built for one region, for one state, for one city. They're built to be global services. So as long as you produce a global service that actually has value, you cannot lose. There are people all around the world who use this service and can pay you immediately. So very interesting to see. Blockchain Shuja, in regards to the Binance hack, said could cost a lot more than $3 million. Right now, it's definitely going to cost a lot more than $3 million now that this stuff is actually getting hacked. But yep, Cornelius Brodnick said we don't negotiate with terrorists. Hey, I'm with it too. But the crazy thing is they kind of already were negotiating with them. So, he said they were negotiating for a month. I think they needed to make up their mind. It was either a yay or nay. If it was a nay, they should just cut off all communication. It was like, hey, release it. They should have released a tweet before he released all the stuff. Like, hey, sorry, everybody. We were using this third party for know your customer stuff that your government forced us to do. And then they got hacked, and it's about to get hacked. I mean, they should just let it all go. What's going on, Saddam? Welcome back. Full with money. What's up? Richard. Hello. Cold and windy here down under. Snow forecast for the weekend. That's no good, man. I come out to California. All right. Other than that, people, that is our news for today. Like I said, slow news day. The price is kind of stabilized, and billionaires are laundering Bitcoin, and Rhode Island is making it so that only the wealthy can excel, of course. But no, it's a great day in crypto. The good thing is that on every news channel, it's the talk of the town, whether we're talking about the billionaire who might launder their money, states enacting new regulations already, or Coinbase adding new coins. It's a day of crypto, and that's a good thing. Full with money. Thanks for the tip. Much appreciated. Hello to the gentleman of crypto. Hoorah. Oh, you must be Pryor. Got to say what's up to you. There we go. Thanks for the service. All right. Other than that, thanks for watching for today. Again, it was a short show, not a lot of news. But whenever that happens, that means it must be an exciting Friday to come. So I'll see you all tomorrow at the same time. Cheers.